morning and welcome to Bangkok's second largest airport. I'm on my travels to the Maldives. Normally, the airport is quite busy. Have a look at this. Complete emptiness. Now this feels very strange. I don't know if to act surprised or to feel very eerie about this, but it has a feeling of it's almost the end of the world. We checked in and first of all, the lady was looking through our passport to see if we had visited China. Well, you know we have, but they were looking for 14 days because now there's a quarantine that's going on for anyone arriving from China. I don't recall the last time I traveled and it was this empty. So today I'm on my way to the Maldives. Who knows? It might be the best place in the world to be. So by the time you hear from me, I'm going to be in the new destination of the Maldives. We'll chat soon. Oh, welcome to the Maldives. It's hot. And this time, I'm going to show you two places to go in the Maldives. One very affordable and one not so affordable. So as you guys can see behind me, this is the map of the Maldives. One of the first places we're going to go to is the South Airy Atoll. And this is interesting because I've been to the Maldives many times, and this one is the first time I'm going to go to a guest house in the Maldives. I'm staying at a guest house that is just very near where the Kardashians stayed here and spent thousands of dollars a night. So I'm going to show you the difference between spending a few $100s a night to a few dollars a night. And then for the second part is I'm going to be going to Dhigali, and that's in the Ba Atoll. Now there's a lot of misunderstanding here in the Maldives. People tell you that, wow, it's massively expensive, it's only for honeymooners. Well, that can't be more far from the truth. Now guys, there's two ways to get to these really small islands. One is the speedboats we have beside us here. Now that really reduces the price when you come here in the Maldives. For example, a speedboat like that can be anywhere from $30 to $75 to get to the island. And some of these islands are about 2 hours away. So let me explain to you what I mean by a populated island. The Maldives is made up of so many atolls, about 26 in total. And in these atolls, there are smaller, little, tiny micro islands, we'll call them. Now, some are resorts. And if there is a resort on there, the possibility of you visiting it without a hotel reservation is pretty much zero. And some of them go from ranges from $200 to $20,000 a night. Well, this time around, we're going to go to a populated island. And that's where people from the Maldives actually live. And a new little phase or a trend that has been going on lately is a lot of these little islands have decided to get in on or cash in on the tourist market. What they've decided to do is open up these little guest houses, and they are a fraction of the price. Now, these guest hotels, I've seen them as cheap as $15 to $17 a night, and as much as maybe about $100 a night. There's your local ferry boats that go between the mainland airport, or we'll call it Airport Island, to Malé, which is just across the way there. And you'll see the bridge in the distance. That was just completed by a Chinese company. Now, the airport here is technically on an island. It feeds all the other atolls by airplanes, there's domestic air flights or seaplanes, or as well as these speedboats. I've had so many questions from my last video saying, aren't you bored being on an isolated island? Don't you get bored not doing anything down there? Well, that's not the truth. You'd be quite surprised that your day can get, pretty busy pretty quick. Well, it's going to be interesting. This is my first time to a populated Maldives island, which is inhabited by Maldivian people. Most of the time I come here, I go to resorts, but this time I'm going to try something a little bit different. And you know what? You're probably wondering why I've come to the Maldives all the time. Why don't I just go to Phuket or to Koh Samui or something like that? Well, this water doesn't lie, okay? That is the water that you've seen in the postcards for years. It's here. That is it. It's blue, as you can imagine, and it's not photoshopped in any postcards. What I'm trying to do today here is to give you the best bang for the buck. How to enjoy a vacation like all the major movie stars go to or the honeymooners go to. So here's the checklist. It's cost me $200 for flights. It's going to cost me $35 for the speedboat. and it's going to cost me about $60 a night for the hotel, which includes breakfast. I'm going to be taking the ferry to the mainland Malé. 2 tickets. 2. Thank you very much. And you can get them right here at the ferry to Malé. It's only $2 for 2 tickets. So this boat that I paid $1 for is taking me to the mainland there of Malé. And that's the capital of the Maldives. And look at the water that we get to enjoy. So let's go. I'll see you guys on the other side. So it took about 5 minutes to come across the ferry. That wasn't bad. $1 to get here. A couple things you got to keep in mind when you're here. This is a Muslim country, so it's not like we're going to be going around bar and pub crawling to get beers here. You will notice a considerable difference here on the main island than you would on the really tiny islands, or we'll call them resort islands. So I just hopped off the boat from the airport to the capital here in the Maldives called Malé. It's got about 147,000 people here. Very, very densely populated because it's just a really tiny island. So you're probably wondering, what is the purpose of Malé? Well, you'll see behind me all the boats. Those are connecting all the atolls, at least the ones nearby. Some are very far boat ride, that's for certain. So sometimes you would take, a domestic air flight or even a seaplane there. Now, a lot of the other local islands, you would just take a normal boat or a speedboat. The one I'm going to today is about $35 and it's about 2 hours away. Now, Malé is quite compact. A lot of the population is really sandwiched here. So most tourists don't come to Malé. This is pretty much where all the locals live. All 142 to 148,000, depending which publication that you're reading. This is the local island. This truly is the Maldives that most tourists don't see. So the Maldives just isn't about holidaymakers or, honeymooners. The capital of Malé here behind me, there are some do's and don'ts. The do's, definitely check out the seafood market and some of the cuisine here. It's quite interesting.
Big fish, huh? Yeah.
My shop name.
Oh.
Sweden shop number 4.
Oh, what do you sell?
Please come over. Yeah.
The don'ts are, don't try to come here and go on a full bar crawl blitz and get hammered. Don't come to this island expecting to find pubs and beers and bar crawls and stag parties and nightclubs. It's just not going to happen here. You must respect the religion. There was a recent news article about a drunk British girl who was in a bikini. Now on a resort, a 5-star resort, that's acceptable, we'll say. Now there's certain ways to get around the capital of Malé if you want. There's motorcycle taxis as well. I wouldn't recommend renting a scooter because there's, you can pretty much make it around this island in probably about 30 minutes. So there's no real advantage on that. And as well as it looks like people don't really respect the helmet law. So this is just a little stop before I get to the ferry boat to take me to the next island. It's the first time I'm not going to a resort island. I'll be doing that later in the next resort that I go to. But this one's a guest house on a populated island here in the Maldives. And when I always talk about resorts, guys, I'm talking about these small islands that you can't just pull a boat up to like you can in Thailand to any island. A lot of these islands are bought and paid for by the resorts, like Shangri-La, like St. Regis, Intercontinental, Four Seasons, the Amari, all stuff like that. The big hitters are already here, already well established. But now the local islands are getting in on the action. We'll see if it's possible to get that postcard blue water. We're gonna find out. So I decided to come into Malé to get something to eat because at the airport I didn't want to pay $17.50 for a Whopper. So I got a chicken sandwich. It looks a little bit red because it's what kind of sandwich was it?
Tandoori chicken.
It was a tandoori chicken sandwich. It was about $3 or $4, somewhere around there. And the apple juice is 60 cents here, not $6 on the other side of the water. You got to be careful about is currency. Now, restaurants make up their own currency exchange rates to the US dollar. The bank rate here, as of posting, is about 10 to 1. In the restaurant, it's 7 to 1. Now that might not sound like a big deal, but you get a bill that is up around $30 to $40. Makes a bit of an impact, right? So I'm gonna go to the bank here and see if they're gonna give me some of their local currency at a decent rate. Well, that's fail number one. Banks close at 2 here, and some of them close for praying. Oh man, it doesn't take long for this place to slowly grind you down. Things close early. Things are hot. Things are massively, densely populated. I feel really sandwiched in here. Well, let's see if we can get some currency here. It's not looking good right now. Well, there's hope yet. Oh, fuck. Closed again. Everything's closed. Okay, we'll try one more block here. If no luck, then we're going back. What country closes its banks at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for the day? Every cafe in town does not offer Wi-Fi because it's too expensive. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, guys, this is a major, major announcement. You've got to come to a currency exchange place like this. The restaurant was going to give me 7 to 1, and actually the government listed rate is 15 to 1 for the US dollars. So a nice 110% markup. No. And I'm hearing, rumor has it, that the Chinese have invested big time here in the Maldives. They bought the National Courier and a lot of its seaplanes, as well as they invested in the bridge. And Beijing has also invested in the airport, and you can start to see that there's a little bit more development here from the Chinese. So a lot of Chinese investment coming in here. I don't think that's a bad thing. They put their money behind projects and they turn out quite good. Oh, the city just, Malé gets to you after a while. It's not the type of city that you just want to be hanging around in. A lot of back alleys. It's really tough to find a general store, even like a 7-Eleven here. Ugh, this is annoying. Happily leaving Malé. Don't really like the town, never really liked it. Know that it's more of a pit stop for connection to these inhabited islands that have new guest houses, and of course, these blockbuster resorts. It's worth the little struggle to get there. This is a city, if you have a couple of hours, you should come to see if you're on your way to another island or another island resort. It's a city that there's been a lot of fighting over. What I mean by that is in regards to the government. The government's been unstable here for many years. One president out, another one in. I can understand it's a lot to fight over because there's a lot of beauty here and a lot of investment going on here in the Maldives. That's pretty much it here for me in Malé. So I'm just here catching my jetty bus or jetty boat, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to Retreat Beach Resort, which is about 2 hours away from Malé. It's about 2 hours?
Yes, 2 hours.
2 hours? You're the driver? You're the driver?
No, I'm driver.
All right.
It's a cashier, boat manager.
Boat manager.
Yes.
All right, and we might be in some pretty spectacular sandy beaches. We're gonna find out because in Thailand, for a white sand beach, blue water, I'm not sure if that's still available today with all the boats and the mass tourism going on there. Maldives is the best kept secret, especially these little getaways to these guest houses on these populated Maldives islands. Oh, that's a pressure cooker out there.